Well, good morning, everyone. This is Knox County Commissioners regular session, June 10th, 2025. We went a little long on the radio line, and then so we're up and running now. We have Kyle Webb here with us to talk about our IT for the county and projects that he is involved in for us. So, Kyle, your world.
Yeah, thank you. So projects that we've completed since our last report, something that's been on the list for a while was the install of all the new 911 computers. That has been completed. The machines have all been replaced down there. So that's something that's been on our plate for a while. Trevor did a fantastic job coordinating with 911 and making sure a station was available and scheduling that around them. So that was completed finally. The other thing we're happy to announce is we're going to promote Blake Ward, who's currently our senior IT support specialist, to our open position of network and security administrator. We will be posting the IT support specialist position. That could be a regular or senior. It just depends on the applicant for that. So we're happy to be able to promote from within for that position. Ongoing projects. We still have lots of computer replacements. Every time we knock something out, another department orders something. So I feel like we're basically treading water. We did Hiawatha was the last big one we did. We've done some in our auditor's office. The city just ordered more equipment for their probation department. So I believe they got a grant. So that is being set up now. We got a couple other departments for the county that have ordered. So we're just adding them on there, but we're knocking them out. Just takes some time. And then a power outage. That was something that we tested when the AEP had the power out here a couple weeks ago. Some of the suggestions from that we saw was battery backups, and we have a large battery backup that kind of handles a lot of 911 systems, and Spring Electric's getting us a connection upstairs, another one for the servers to handle that load. But it was suggested to still have kind of point of use battery backup of smaller systems, and that's pretty standard anywhere you go, is to have those units in conjunction with the generator. That way, if there's any kind of power blip or even just a power dip, that it will still keep everything up and running. I've got a quote kind of on equipment, a rough idea, and this would protect all the main critical servers and network closets in this building and over in the courthouse. Currently, the courthouse doesn't really have anything in terms of protection for that. What's nice about having a battery backup for those situations, it's not necessarily critical to keep wireless running for your phone or something, or internet running because your computer is going to be off because power's out. What's critical about it is if you lose power, having that network gear still have power will still power the phones. And if you power the phones, you can still dial 911. You can still call out, receive calls, even in a power outage. So it gives you an extra layer of, security. Now I know there's probably a deputy over there, with the security desk and things, but it's still, it's nice to be able to protect as many network switches that power the phones as possible. That way, in an emergency, those stay on as long as possible. So I did get a rough quote on that. I went out. Amazon actually allows you to go out for kind of bid. So basically, you can build out a list of equipment that you want, and on Amazon, and they reach out to all their sellers, and they basically come up with like their best price when you're ordering in bulk. So they got us kind of a price on that, which was just nice.
Was there no capacity on the power supply that we have in 911?
So that's the thing. Even Spring Electric, I talked to them about it, and their suggestion was still to have something as kind of a
Backup.
stopgap. Yeah, kind of a backup for the backup. Because especially one of our new storage systems that we got last year, it's very susceptible to data corruption if there's power loss. There's actually an entire sticker they send you with it you put on the electrical panel, and it has a warning on it that says, you know, you need to shut this down before you remove power, and it takes like 20 minutes for it to shut off safely. So that's something. And then over you know, at the courthouse, obviously there's not much over that can't be used for over there.
You house it here in your server room, or are they at its location?
They're at each location. They're kind of like the small battery backups used to have like by computers. They're just a larger version that mount to the server racks. And like I said, that's a rough estimate. I can do some tweaking to that. It was just something I built out.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the rough estimate. $21,686.09. That's
Well, yeah. So I built out the equipment, a rough idea of the equipment we would need, and that's the quote they came back with for that equipment. But like I said, there's especially as Spring Electric has done some of the changes, we can modify that. Because obviously we don't need to run the equipment. The idea isn't to run it for a long period of time. We just need to run it long enough for either the 911 battery backup to kick in, or if something's wrong with that, we just have to run it long enough for the generator to kick on. So realistically, you know, a few minutes.
We may have some funding in the technology fund.
Yeah.
We can look at that once you get a hard number.
Yeah, and so I'll keep tweaking on that. I just wanted to get that in front of you to get an idea of what we're looking at. We've begun testing of a cloud-based backup solution. So currently, our offsite backups are handled. They go to tape drive. We actually have several different, but primarily our last resort is a tape drive. They're being phased out pretty heavily, not mostly by Dell and HP. They both have kind of their own cloud options, and I think they're just trying to get people to use those as opposed to the tape systems. So we've begun some testing of you know, moving to a cloud-based backup. We would probably still use the tape as long as our drives work, but the problem is once you know, if the one dies or something, getting a replacement for it might get more difficult. So we've begun some testing of that with one of the providers is called Backblaze, but it's pretty cost effective to do a cloud-based backup. So we're exploring those options.
So tell me about the security aspect of a cloud-based backup.
Yeah, so everything is housed. So once it's the backup is taken here, it's all encrypted. So we have special encryption on it, and then that version gets uploaded to a cloud-based server or service, one's through Backblaze, which I believe uses a lot of Amazon. And once it's there, it's also encrypted.
Yeah.
So it's protected there both by the vendor, but even if someone got a hold of it, that backup is then encrypted by us. So there's several layers of security on that.
Thank you.
But yeah, that is something that we haven't had to worry about because we've done the tape based and they're encrypted on the tape as well. But obviously moving to the cloud, you have a little bit more. And this is more of, again, a last resort. We have like basically they're called hot, you know, or warm backups here that we would primarily recover from. the cloud backup is more so for if the building was destroyed, or a fire in where we have the tapes, or I don't know, something that would affect that. Um, and this would be kind of the last layer of protection, because you wouldn't want to rely on this as your primary,
Yeah,
because the download speed obviously is a limiting factor too. It would take longer to recover because you have to download all that data out of the cloud. Um, so it's kind of a last resort, but it's, better if it was needed. Obviously, you're going to be thankful you have it.
Right.
Other things, back upgrades for clerk of courts. We got an email yesterday, I believe it was, that they have asked, the clerk's office to start testing the replacement. So, as soon as they get the thumbs up, I'm guessing we would then start, planning the actual, move over to the new servers for clerk of courts. So we're, happy to have that almost completed. City's phone system, we're still working on that reconfiguration for them. I need to check back in with the city on our renewal agreement. I know that they mentioned they had some changes they wanted to make from the law director, but I haven't seen a new copy of that yet. So I'll check back in to see where that is.
And we've got time on that.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Yeah.
The current contract is good till the end of the year. We were just trying to get that locked in and done.
Yeah. City website updates. I know they still have Andrew doing some tweaks here and there.
Yeah, we're doing some little things. My most recent thing was just redrawing part of their logo for their header menu, some stuff like that. But we're just getting some pretty consistent requests here and there.
Existing computer hardware upgrades, that's, as needed as we see it. We have the equipment to do the upgrades. Continuing updates of security monitoring controls. Obviously, that's always something that you're kind of working on, is how can we secure systems a little bit more? How can we document and have policies for disaster recovery, incident response, those sorts of things. And some of that I actually worked on in my master's degree. The capstone project was using a real world scenario and creating a security policy procedure system. So I've created some templates and things in that for like incident reporting, those kinds of things, where we have systems in place now where we all know what to do, but we don't sometimes have that, written down to a formal form that you fill out. But those are some of the things that a lot of the security frameworks look for, is to have, actual written forms to, write down an incident response, and then we file it away. So those are stuff that we're working on in our all of our free time. And then life-size camera replacement, that hasn't been a huge thing, real problem. So it's kind of been on the back burner a little bit because it's been working fine. But it's definitely something we're still looking at doing in the next year or so.
So you're saying they currently have a life-size camera out there? And
Yeah, they currently have.
replacing it?
We would like to replace it with a Zoom based system. The life size kind of a proprietary system. There's a lot of fees and maintenance contracts and things that are associated with it, and it's a very closed off system. And by moving to a Zoom based, it's a lot more open source. You can use a lot more off the shelf parts. You're not stuck in those maintenance agreements, that kind of.
Right.
And it just makes things simpler. But it's just
And when you're talking life size, people out there might be thinking, oh yeah, it's a 6-foot character, 3D image of someone.
oh
5D
yeah,
image.
no, it's just the
a-
name of the company. It's life size. It's used heavily by, it was used heavily by the state, and so they kind of, the state used them, so then everyone else was kind of forced to use them, because if you want to talk to any of the jails or prisons that the state runs, that you had to have a life size system. And it's one of those things where for a while, the state seemed to be moving away from it. But I think it's one of those things where the state invested so much money into the life size system that now they're kind of running both of them because they don't want to necessarily get rid of it because they put so much money into it. But they see the need to move to a less cost prohibitive system like Zoom or
Right.
Teams. So we're looking into that as well. And then the sheriff's office fax system that I'm waiting on a quote from a vendor for a fiber service to possibly replace those old phone lines out there. So but yeah, that's what I have.
It's still one of the old dial ones, and when you hear the beep, you have to hit start.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Luckily there's no there's no receiver you have to wait, but it's pretty
You
close.
ring and then you gotta hit.
Yeah, pretty much. But anything
Yeah, it seems like the fax systems, that's still evidently one of the most secure ways to pass information on.
I wouldn't say it's the most secure way, but it's the way that the government has allowed things to still be done. It got grandfathered in when a lot of the HIPAA and PHI and CGIS stuff came down. Fax systems were so heavily in use that they kind of just got grandfathered in as, there are some policies of what you're supposed to do on faxing. Whether or not those actually get followed by anyone, I'm not sure. But it's one of those things where the government kind of carved out an exception, so I think that's why it's so heavily used even today. And people get nervous about email, even though it's all encrypted and it follows those. The fax, it just kind of pops out, and normally it just works. We're seeing less of that now. It's becoming less reliable because you get a mix of digital systems. So you'll get newer phone systems that say that they work with fax, so they'll have fax capability. But sometimes those digital systems working with an old analog fax machine, they don't sometimes play nice. And so it can cause where faxes don't come through, you get pages missing. It's kind of a weird in-between stage that we're in, and it would honestly be better if we could just get away from fax or replace it with
A
something
lot of employment
else, but
and medical documents, they won't, the only way you can do it is fax.
yeah, and that's pretty much the standard. But one of the things I laugh about is when you send a fax, especially from HIPAA compliance standards, what you're supposed to do is call the person on the receiving end and have them waiting at the fax machine. So when you send the fax, they can pick it up and it doesn't just sit there. I can't tell you how many places I've walked into or medical places, a stack of faxes that large that have been printed out
Yeah.
because no one follows that,
Right.
procedure. But
And they're waiting to scan it into the next.
yeah, and then it gets faxed somewhere else, and by the time the person gets it, you can't even read it because it's been faxed so many times. But yeah, we're just kind of in that in between. A lot of the medical stuff is actually moving towards they have their digital portals and things that they'll scan into now. So there is less of that, but we're still seeing it for like EMS runs. Warrant information still gets faxed. So that's where we're at right now. But
Perfect.
Good.
yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Change my mind.
Sheriff's here.
Harry. Pull aside.
Oh, next we have the sheriff in Westchester in, so he's not supposed to start until 3 minutes, but we're gonna go ahead and allow him to go ahead and get started. Thank you, Sheriff, for coming in, give us an update. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Well, we're ready.
So, our jail population as of this morning is 91. We was maintaining around 75 to 80, but it bounced up over the weekend. Currently 78 males and 12 females. So, 3 inmates are housed in other holding facilities. The average stay in our jail, This is taken from over a year. Men 17 days, females 16 days.
Thanks for putting that on, Sheriff. Appreciate that.
Uh,
The three inmates that are housed other holding, that means they were arrested in another county or something.
And
And are we paying for them $100 a day or whatever it is?
so two of them are in a mental health facility, and then one's in Lincoln County.
So do we pay for the mental health facility? People, yeah,
I believe so.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Um. We have three individuals in the hiring process currently. Once they're through the hiring process, we should be fully staffed. We have one individual that's at North Central College and Police Academy. He should be done in August. And after 15-week FTO program, he'll probably around November 1st, he'll be on the road patrolling.
Could you talk a little bit about the hiring process, how long it takes for a person to go to a schooling and the other training?
So we hired this individual as an employee for the county. He started in the academy, I believe, in January,
Okay,
and he'll finish around August 1st. And so I think it's average. The academy is 744 hours now for basic police academy. It's right in there somewhere. So we're looking forward to he graduates and get him on the road as well. With current events that's in our call volume just continues to go up. We're probably gonna look at having one car per shift that's a 2-man car to go to unknown types of calls, domestics and whatever, just that we're in the process of figuring out how we're gonna do that right now. We're working on setting up a wellness program for all of our employees, seeking grants to help with the funding on that. We'll also have a chaplain that we're talking to today that we can not on board with us to any of our units that would want to reach out to her and for her services in the future.
Is the wellness program nothing with our HR department can help you with that?
Some of, yeah,
Some of it.
they help with some of it, yeah. And we're moving forward on a training program so we can keep all of our deputies, you know, up on all the latest training and so they're fully credentialed to do their job. And then the lieutenant that we're tasked with the training program, once he's fully credentialed, we're kind of hoping that we can host a lot of our training right here at the sheriff's office, so we're not having to send every units out all over to be trained. Looking forward to getting that program up and going. That's pretty much all I had.
okay. Any questions?
Sheriff, the 2 men in a car, is that an expansion of employees or are you just gonna rotate people around to be in it?
We may have to employ more employees to do that. Right now, we've got some things going on that have to wait and see who we're gonna have available.
Yeah, it's definitely, the world's definitely changed, that.
And good. Well, thank you, Sheriff.
We appreciate you guys' service, Sheriff. Thank your staff for it.
We'll do. Thank you.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
We only have a couple items here today. It looks like this was kicked back, but now we've got this ready to authorize Major Mark Perkins to complete and sign the convert license plate renewal applications And it has all three commissioner signatures on there this time, so I think you're ready.
Motion to approve. Second.
And all those in favor say aye. Aye.
And then we had the jail meal report for May was 7,209 meals prepared at $1.67 per meal.
Motion to approve.
Second it.
And all those in favor say aye. Aye.
And then we did have one ad, commissioners, Penny received a petition for annexation to the village of Danville. And this is going to be a regular annexation, which is a different one we haven't done before, I don't believe. So this at this point is just you entering into the record that if we received it, I don't think, do they even need to adopt anything, or it's just we're
Not
entering-
yet.
Yeah, we're just notifying you, and Penny will put it in the minutes that we've received it. And then the process will begin. So just want to let you know we received that. I think, if I've got anything for you, I did talk, Bill, you mentioned me this morning, I talked to Todd, the back entrance, we're actually in good shape. The roof has been put on the flat part, so we're still on schedule
Okay,
with all
great.
of that.
Good.
Is moving along, so I think we're okay there.
So we have all the leaks done, cause I saw.
Well,
a
on
lot
the ground
of-
part, there's not, they haven't put the final roof on it yet.
Okay,
Flat one is.
but
finished,
the
not
leak,
the-
leaks are stopped.
Yeah,
Okay.
cause that was just the metal temporary,
Okay.
until they had to insulate it and then put the final product on it. So
Okay.
that's why there was some drippage. So I think that project, we're okay.
Great.
And I don't think I have anything else for you. I was out last week, so I'm kind of digging through. I'm sure I'll have some stuff for you Thursday.
Commissioner, anything, Commissioner?
No, just like I said, I'm looking more into that 208 plan and I'll look at you guys. after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, cause right now it's like, the sky is falling, but we don't know why.
Delaware's more in the thick of it, so trying to figure out more details about.
Good. Commissioner,
I have nothing, sir.
you want to talk about, Friday and going over to, Morrow County?
That's you.
Friday, Morrow County put together a new engineering building, and then talking with their commissioners over there, they had 30 acres. That they had purchased at some point, they were using like 10 to 12 acres. To be able to upgrade the where the engineer was housing their equipment, working on their equipment, their salt barn. One of the things they had over there that perked my interest, but didn't Cameron's. They have part of their facility was for them to be able to make the cement beams for bridges. And so that would be able to do some of that in-house. And so that wasn't up and running, but they were looking to do that.
I think the portable lifts were kind of neat too. That they could
Yes, yeah.
actually lift a vehicle up without having the lift permanently mounted in the floor. They just move it, use it to lift. Those were pretty cool.
Yeah, and they operated with Bluetooth, so
Yeah.
they would come in from each side, as long as the Bluetooths were talking at the same time going up. Yeah, so it was an interesting time, and then we also had some people from some of the county agencies, our ones that handle our health insurance, the engineer association, and everyone was concerned about the lunacy going on about property taxes and all the dialogue there, because if they don't get their head around it properly, they'll end up crashing our tax system, and schools and everybody else would be in bad shape. We would all become Amish immediately overnight. But if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion for adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
and so we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Here's the bill list of the minutes.
De vuelta,